Hello folks, this is just a quick update on my figs, and you're looking at the devastation that's taken place. Unfortunately, I'm having another bad year. Last year most of my trees dropped all their figs, and it's happened again. This is an improved Celeste, and these are just two that have, well, one have fallen off. I pulled off the other one because, as you can see here, it's quite soft to touch. It was stuck on here and I just bent it a little bit and it came off. Now there's no sap in that when it came off, so I'm presuming that the tree was just going to abort the fig anyway. That also happened on my hardy Chicago. It was loaded with figs down here. Some dropped, some didn't. I just pulled them off because they were starting to shrivel up and go soft. However, these ones are hanging on, so I'm hoping these will ripen up. What's caused this devastation? It's actually spider mites. In terms of the timeline, what happened was about, I don't know, a few weeks ago, leaves started to yellow. That's a bit of rust there. And fall off on lots of the trees, as well as that the growing tips here stopped growing and basically just decayed and looked like they're shriveling up. And then of course after that the figs drop off, or whatever figs are on it just drop off. Now some have fared better than others. Last year I went onto the forums to find out what it might be, and a lot of people said it's maybe a micronutrient deficiency, particularly boron. So I fed it with some boron and gave some fish emulsion, and someone did respond okay, but not too much. I thought it was the same this year until I spotted the spider mites, and yeah, there's webs everywhere, and it's basically an infestation. It's kind of hard to see there, but what I've done is dusted every tree with some sulfur powder. Prior to that I was using a spray that I got in a grow shop, which wasn't, I treated for about, I don't know, 2 weeks. It didn't do anything, so I upped the ante and got some sulfur. This seems to have done the job, because the trees that were worse off have stopped dropping leaves, so I'm going to take that as a sign that it's working. So as I said, some have fared a bit worse than others. So hardy Chicago, improved Celeste are pretty bad. Panache was destroyed here. It's only starting to leaf out again, dropped all of its leaves. Choucrette wasn't so bad, it just didn't grow too much. These two are the worst off. So this is Rouge de Bordeaux, and yeah, it looks like it's going to die. I did clip off a branch with the intention of getting some cuttings off. Same here with Dalmati. This looks like it's dead, just stopped growing and happened here. I might do the same with this and chop it up and see if we can get some stuff off. I did manage to get this cutting off, which is done well. Starting to put out figs there, but it's too late in season for those. Long day out was okay, just stopped growing, but it didn't drop any leaves. This one here, Ron's de Bordeaux, fared better. You can see some figs on there. These two little ones probably won't ripen up, but hopefully this one will. But it did stop growing at the tips here, so it's just not putting out any new growth. What else have we got? Malta Black isn't looking too good either. I don't know why it's dropping those leaves. I checked if it was needed some water, but it doesn't. You can see here the new leaf just dropping off, and this is what normally happens. This one fared pretty bad as well. This is a Nana Maria, an English variety. It's holding onto its figs pretty well, so I'm hoping that's a good sign. This is dropping its leaves pretty bad, but the ones that are here are staying on, so and that's after the sulfur application, so hopefully they will ripen up in time for me. This is another cutting of the same variety. Nice Bariba on there. This one did pretty bad as well. This is Brooklyn White. Funny enough though, I actually took this out of pot and the roots are still very healthy, so I'm going to take that as a good sign. Sultane here is pretty bad as well. His growth died back. He had horrible spindly growth. We did have some shoots come up from the base, which are doing pretty well. However, you can see the tips here, just don't know what's going on with that. Bucane is the same, stopped growing, dropped leaves. We have a fig on there, so hopefully that will ripen this year. Negroni has done pretty well. It's put out a good crop. It did stop growing, and you can see some of the tips dying back here. Dropped a few leaves, but it's since stalled on me, so I'm hoping that will ripen up for me. Same here with this, I think it's an English brown turkey fig. So it's not looking great, considering we had a good start to the year, and equally last year we had a really good start to the year. Now this one here, this one I got recently in a shop called Homebase, and it's labelled as brown turkey. Now when I went to buy this, or have a look at the tree really, there was a fig that was on it that was half ripe, and I took it off and ate it, and it was probably the nicest fig I've ever tasted in my life. It was super sweet, super jammy, it was just absolutely gorgeous. Now I think they shipped this in from Spain, so maybe it ripened in the heat and tasted really good, but based on the leaf pattern and based on the shape of these figs, I don't think it's brown turkey. I've seen brown turkey before, and they don't, from my experience, the figs don't necessarily look like this. So I reckon it's a different cultivar, and I'm hoping that these will ripen because they are outstanding figs. Another one here, Black Madeira KK. This had a spider mite infestation when I had it in the house over winter, and I brought it outside. I did harden it off, but it didn't take too well to being hardened off, and it just dropped the leaves and didn't do anything for about 2 months. I've planted it in the ground, and it's since starting to come out of its I don't know, quasi dormancy period, and it's just taken off, albeit a bit late in the season. But what I plan to do with this is maybe do a double cover, so I have another mini greenhouse on top of this, just to see if I can get as much growth as I can before the cold weather kicks in. I did consider, however, after all of these mishaps, that maybe figs wasn't the way to go here, given our climate as well, because they're quite cold. We get a lot of rain in the summer. This is strawberry vert, it's got a nice crop in it as well. I did consider giving up, considering the problems I had, but I didn't. And the main reason is because I've seen some in-ground figs over here, and they're humongous, and they're loaded with figs. And to give you an example, my one in-ground tree is actually doing really well in comparison to the ones that I have in here. And that's why I'm not going to give up. I think what I want to do is try and get all of these into the ground. And I think once they've a strong established root system, they might fare a bit better. I'll just show you my Ronde Bordeaux. Now, this is it here, amidst, in amongst the corn. Here the figs still waiting to ripen up. You can see there's so many shoots sprouting out from the base. This one here is probably about 2 foot long. That only popped up about 2 weeks ago. I did pinch the end of it here because there's no figs on it, but it's still quite green, and I want that to lignify before we get into the cold weather. And what I'm hoping next year is maybe we'd have enough branches coming up from the base that when we get the new growth coming out, I can pinch them early enough, and then hopefully get a crop to set for me. At the moment, I think it just wants to veg out and just grow branches and leaves. But yeah, this is a very healthy looking tree in comparison to the ones that are in the polytunnel. So there you go.